I grew up in the tea estates or Valparai, and I was surrounded by nature all the time. And that itself can bring out any artist in a normal person. Though I had always admired nature's work of art and butterflies and things like that. But art took over at one point of time when I saw my uncle painting during my vacations. And that too, he was drawing on the wall with pencil, then he was coloring watercolors and things like that. There, my fascination became a passion. And then, originally, I always wanted to be a mechanical engineer, but then I thought I'll become an art director. But I never, not art director, artist. But then I never knew there was a college to study these things. But when I got an opportunity, I found from one of my friends that who had studied in School of Arts, they have a course in visual communication. Dad was totally against that idea because they told me artists always died in poverty and things like that. So I told him, no, I'll become a commercial artist. So I told I'll do things which others want me to do. In the hindsight, I think nothing happens without a reason. Because one of my friend who was an art director, he was my junior, but he became an art director. I was just doing graphic designing and working for multinational companies and things like that while studying in college. So it was a good experience for me. But after finishing, I started my own agency and I was working as a freelancer. Then there were a few people under me, artists working. He asked me, will you help me out? Because he didn't have time to do a film. So I told him how many days of work because I don't know anything about it. He told me, no, 7 days if you can manage, no, it will be over. But I ended up doing for 7 months. And finally, they didn't pay me much, 1,500 rupees they gave me. And I had to close down my agency and people I couldn't pay. So I thought what to do. But I did it with passion, with 100% involvement and sincerity, hard work, everything put together. I think that helped me. As soon as the film was over, I was flooded with offers. In fact, I had another major film which came up my way was to create a shark which goes in the water, which was about 13 feet long. If any Malayali is there, he'll know it was Amaram by Bharathan. And that was my first film. Here I would like to show you some pictures to know what kind of work we do and what goes behind camera, especially in my department. Now I'm a production designer. Art directors work under me who are even my assistants themselves. So this is a project which I did in Bombay. This is called Om Shanti Om, where you can see the Paris Lake set, and next to it is the burnt affected set because it had to get burnt, and after 20 years, this is the stage. So you can see the detailing which we have done on that. This is for Endran, where I had the opportunity to work with Rajnikant. He's a fantastic human being, and we made dummies of him. And then this is one of the sequences where he as a villain, he'll be cutting open one of the other robo's head. This was for the same film because I was the first one to use scaffolding, pipes and clamps, and ACP sheets, that's aluminum composite panels for film industry, because they used to always do it with planks, especially in Bombay. Here, mostly they use wood and plaster of Paris and gunny sack and things like that. But the finish was better, the look was better, the structure was bigger, and it took a lot of load. So it really helped me. You can see the finish finally, how it looks. We, in fact, put tar road also in one of the grounds which was available at that point of time. And I had the opportunity to work on films like Alapani, Virasat, Heyram, Bahubali, and RRR now. So this was one which director asked me, because always Rajamouli comes out with some very difficult things. He'll tell me, I need this one. I don't know. So I used to tell him, no problem, sir, I'll try to do it. So this was one of the things where after the fountain breaks, he wanted the whole this one to dance like snakes. So I tried out different techniques and then had added high pressure jets with, again, nitrogen gas and things like that. So it worked much better for me. This is a dummy, one will be a running model, the other two are dummy cars which I made. These are Jeeps, which look like Bentley Jeeps of those days. It's supposed to be 1946 or 47. And I used an ordinary Jeep and converted the whole thing for running condition. The other two was dummy. So this is another miniature set. When people, why I want to show you this picture is that people think miniature is a tabletop model and we make it look big. It doesn't happen that way. Especially this one, because this is around 26 feet, which is supposed to be 60 feet or more. It is almost one-third scale. And you can see the one which has to blast, the truck there. And through the windows and all this thing, the blast has to happen. Why we made it in that scale is because or else to miniaturize water and fire, it is very, very difficult because it will look big compared to the sun. It will never look small. The building will look small only. That's why some places when it's done badly, you will think it is miniature. So this is also miniature, which was about 3.5 feet, 4 feet was the tank size. It's a running model. I didn't use the video here. You can see the detailing. The detailing is the one which will make it look more. This is also an RRR where the whole thing comes out of the. This I'm showing you just to show you high-tech set. This was just done out of lycra cloth. So on a nowadays stage they do. This was done so many years back. It was, I think, called Billu Baba. Shah Rukh was a part of it. This is a ship which I recently did for a Malayalam film. It is called Marekar, where we made a tank which is 200 feet by 200 feet. And we had to create waves in that. And this one, there was a lot of CG extensions also, but this itself was a tough job because a lot of action sequence had to happen. You can see the waves which I created inside the tank. And the tank was a huge tank. So to create even so much of waves, it is not easy because I'll show you how I managed because there was no budget because it's being a Malayalam film. We are always worried about budget because whatever they need is like a Hollywood film, but we have finally only a shoestring budget. But I managed to get it done. You can see how they did it. This is how I did. Using JCB. There were two like that on either sides, and then we had to create waves like this. And this is again a mechanical horse which I did for Bahubali, because for a war sequence it's really risky for an artist, and this is not an okay take. You can see the platform which is one. I'll show you next picture where you can really see how this is working. So this is another elephant which I made for the same film. This is Bahubali again, where Rana hits the elephant with the maze and the whole thing has to fall on people, because in real elephant we can't do such shots. And everyone thinks this. Why I'm showing you these things is because people nowadays think even good acting is CG, visual effects. But see, we do certain things, interactive areas has to be done. So now, even here, I had the advantage of using very modern materials which are available in the market, like fiberglass, and even I used for these swords which I made for Bahubali, because in the fight it shouldn't break. It has to be lightweight for the artist to use, or else he'll get muscle cramps the next day. So we used carbon fiber, which is used for helicopter blades these days, which are very light and as strong as steel. See, this is one of the tests which I did in the beginning for Bahubali. I didn't add dry ice into it, or else you would have got the fumes also. How I done this was actually using glycerin and jam, two kinds of jam, yellow jam and one red jam I mixed together. And because actually handling a molten metal is not easy because it is quite dangerous. This was lit from the down, and we just moved the black card. There's an acrylic sheet where we are pouring this one, and we are just pulling the card to allow the light to come in. So simple techniques we use, and we try to manage things that way. So this is nothing but table salt. See, we use this to create, because we make assets using this for the CG. So director asked me whether you can create water, but water's messy, this kind of flow you won't get, and then the quantity, we overflowing, wastage, everything put together. I told him this might work, sir, and it worked for me. For art, language has never been a barrier. I approached the craft with these USPs, simple ones, by simplifying everything, working within the frame of budget, working with sincerity and dedication, and not shying away from hard work. This really helped me in a big way. Now it's almost 32 years in the industry. I never worked as assistant to anyone. I didn't know what was art direction and production designing. Now, if people have actually been very kind to me and given me so much of name, money, everything, what can I ask for more? So I'm really thankful. But all this started when in sixth grade, I came across a quote of Abraham Lincoln that struck a chord in me. And after that, my childlike curiosity spurred me to learn and explore things and to learn more and more. I wanted to know about everything because there was nothing which I didn't want to know. That really helped me today because when as an art director, I do mechanical kind of job. I use chemicals to make fire. Like in Kalapani, I had used to make fire, I used glycerin and potassium permanganate. These things have helped me in a big way. Now, especially after the advancement of media and technology, constantly, if you update yourself for everyone, I think there is no looking back. You have so much opportunity, especially in the entertainment industry, because people shy away from entertainment industry, especially our job, especially because it's not a white-collar job. We don't sleep. We work till 3 o'clock in the morning, again 5 o'clock we have to be back in the set. So it's sheer hard work. It's not easy. Unless you have passion, you can't do. This is for the youngsters who want to do well in life, I'm telling you, because nothing easy in life. Another thing which I want to tell you is that when you do your work well, it will be noticed. So, doing ordinary things extraordinarily well, I believe in it so strongly, you will be noticed because people will be watching you. So, it has to happen. And especially now the advancement in technology, I've come across AR and VR, which we use heavily in the film industry, where in AR, augmented reality, actually it's fantastic for learning processes because you can make simulators for the pilots, and you can do operations like surgery, you can practice. So today, advantage is that even children in school labs can have an experience which the doctors are having in their own labs. And in VR, the immersive experience is fantastic, where it's so believable. Tomorrow, I think there are possibilities of people using it to overcome their phobias, because the experience is so real, you might come up with this one. And another thing is that the artisan sculptors are using and like enjoying them or learning by doing it in the 3D space, which is another experience which is fantastic. And nowadays we started shooting already in virtual studios where like LED screens like this are where the assets are created in 3D modeling, and we can even shift and change accordingly. Counter shots can be taken by changing this one, and the only thing, the foreground has to be matched. So once that is done, then the whole thing looks so good. And especially the Unreal Engine software for rendering, it can be done in real time, and it looks so real and believable. That is another advantage which is happening today. And I've been very lucky to use all this technology like the 3D printing and things like that for my films. Through this virtual reality, we are able to impart centuries worth information about our culture and the history to the coming generation. It will be a tool to help and learn and understand and about the contribution of the country. Because so much our forefathers and people have contributed, like the mathematicians, astronomers, and all those things, like Sushrata, for first plastic surgeon from India, then Aryabhatta, Baudhayana for Pythagoras theorem, which they say he was the first one to actually give that theorem. And keeping the history and heritage in our culture and traditions alive for generations, it will work for them because they'll have a fantastic learning experience of knowing without going through history books, which is quite boring. So they will have a fantastic experience which they'll never forget. I think, and the coming generations will also benefit out of it. And especially these days, the experience, if above all, my experiences, if it gives one good cause to contribute positively, I'll be a content man. I should say I owe my success to this universe, my family, mentors, colleagues, and especially all those who have assisted me, stood by me throughout my career. See, this is the virtual reality one which I was talking about, where you can have the LED screen and it can be shot, and the camera, they have an end camera which can control the camera movements and the background together. So this is a new thing which has come up, and already at Annapurna Studio, I am a consultant there, and we started building. Yesterday was the first test which we started doing again. When I used to work in the night, especially late nights when everyone was sleeping, I came across this line because I used to work only to make some money, extra money for my education and for my family. The heights by great men recent kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night. This actually was a solace for me because I thought, okay, someday it will help me. So I should become, I should achieve something. So that has made me come here, and thank you.